Welcome to the deep dive. If your work involves source code collaboration, or if you've recently been asked to get certified in one of the tools that power modern software, then this deep dive is definitely for you.
It is.
Today, we are opening the file on the foundational material for the GitLab Certified Git Associate exam.
Yeah, we're sort of calling this the 101 course. I mean, this is the backbone of modern software, and our goal is to give you the quickest path to being genuinely well-informed on the core concepts.
Right.
Not just the commands you type, but the whole platform, the ecosystem that surrounds them. You really need to know the why as much as the how.
And I think the single biggest tripping point for anyone new to this, or maybe moving over from older systems, is the name itself. Our mission today is to draw a really hard line right away. Is GitLab just Git on the internet? Because if you think they're the same thing, the whole philosophy behind the platform and, frankly, the exam, it all just falls apart.
It absolutely does. We have to start there. That's the foundational distinction.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We've got Git, G-I-T. Before all these platforms came along, Git was, it was revolutionary for version control.
Right.
So fundamentally, what is Git?
Git is the local tool. It's the command line software you install directly on your machine, on your laptop.
Okay.
And its purpose is really singular and essential, just tracking changes in files locally. It maintains a secure, complete history of every version right there on your hard drive.
I think the analogy we found in the source material for this is perfect. It says Git is like the engine in your car.
Exactly.
It's essential, it's mechanical, it's functional, and it does the core work, the commits, the branches, the history, but it's totally self-contained. It doesn't, inherently know how to talk to other engines.
And that self-contained nature is precisely why you need the platform. So if Git is the engine, then GitLab has to be defined way more expansively.
Right.
It starts as a web-based Git repository manager. So yes, it hosts your code so others can access it, but that is a huge understatement for what the certification requires you to know.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because the exam insists on that broader definition.
It does. The definition you have to know is a complete DevOps platform. So if Git is the engine, then GitLab is the garage, the mechanic, the dealership, and the highway all in one.
Wow. Okay.
It's everything surrounding and supporting the engine. It's how you collaborate, how you plan your work, how you secure it, and, eventually how you deploy that code.
So it's not just a bucket for code. It's the entire infrastructure wrapped around that engine. And that distinction is crucial because the associate exam isn't just checking if you memorized git commit.
No.
It's checking if you get how that local command then plugs into the collaboration, the security, and the deployment features of the whole platform.
Exactly. Understanding the tool is necessary, but understanding the platform's workflow is what really distinguishes an associate.
Okay, so let's jump into that workflow. Why does the material push the term DevOps platform so hard? What's the core philosophy here?
What's so interesting, I think, is just how ambitious it is. They want to stop what's called toolchain sprawl.
Toolchain sprawl.
Yeah, DevOps as a philosophy is all about breaking down the silos between development and operations. Historically, you'd use one tool for planning, another for code hosting, a third for testing, a fourth for security.
So you have 5 different teams using 10 different tools, all trying to hand off a piece of software to each other.
Precisely. GitLab's big idea is to integrate that entire pipeline. They aim to cover the whole software development lifecycle, what we call the DevOps lifecycle, not just the create phase where you write the code.
And they lay out that lifecycle really clearly. You need to know these stages cold, right? Because they define the structure of the entire platform.
Absolutely. The GitLab lifecycle has 5 key stages. They are plan, create, verify, package, and release.
Okay, let's break those down. What does an associate really need to grasp about each stage?
So plan is where the work begins. That means using things like issues and epics right inside GitLab to organize tasks and map out the feature you're building. It's project management.
Then you hit create, which is the core Git stuff, writing code, branching, making local commits.
Correct. But the moment you push that code to GitLab, you immediately jump into the verify stage. For the exam, you need to know that verify is CI/CD, continuous integration, and continuous delivery.
Automated testing.
Yes, automated testing, automated build checks, all running in the background. It turns your code push into an instantaneous quality check.
So it's making sure you haven't broken anything.
It's the platform providing guardrails. Then you move to package, which is getting the application ready for distribution. And finally, release, which is the deployment, pushing it out to your servers.
That makes it feel much more tangible. And this whole process ties back to that single application goal.
That's the whole philosophy, the single pane of glass idea. The user should, in theory, stay within one browser tab all day. You use GitLab for planning, coding, verification, security, deployment, instead of juggling 10 different tools.
But wait a minute, if the goal is this single application for everything, doesn't that risk making the tool just bloated? Too complicated for a small team that just needs a simple place to put their code.
That's a really valid concern, and it's why the platform is modular. But the single application approach solves a huge business problem: context switching. Every time a developer switches tools, they lose focus, they lose minutes. Multiply that across 1,000 developers, and it's a massive loss of efficiency. So the platform, even with its complexity, is designed to keep you focused on the actual work.
I see it now. It's about integrating the development side and the operations side to improve business efficiency. And if the platform dictates that workflow, it must also dictate the language.
It does.
Which means, I assume, they insist on specific terminology that might trip someone up coming from, say, GitHub.
Absolutely. If you come from other platforms, you're used to pull request. In the GitLab world, we call them merge requests, or misses. This is a critical exam detail. You will not see the term pull request on the test.
And what's interesting, as the source material pointed out, is that merge request just makes more grammatical sense, doesn't it?
It really does.
You are requesting that your branch be merged into another one.
It describes the action you are requesting to merge. And knowing that specific term, MR, is required because it proves you understand the platform's intended workflow.
Okay, let's talk about scope. For someone prepping for this, do we need to be masters of those complex, multi-stage CI/CD pipelines?
Thankfully, no. Not for this tier. The deep dive into pipeline wizardry is reserved for the CI/CD Associate exam. This certification is about making sure you are a competent participant in the DevOps lifecycle, not the architect of it.
So what are the core abilities then? What's the minimum expectation?
It focuses heavily on workflow and collaboration. Yes, you need to understand the fundamental Git commands: clone, branch, commit, push, pull. But more importantly, you have to navigate the GitLab interface to do crucial collaboration and security tasks.
Okay, give us an example of a core workflow task.
Think about daily participation, creating a project, inviting a member, and, most critically, implementing and understanding protected branches.
That feels like a big one. The exam seems to focus heavily on it. Why is that such a heavy focus at this foundational level?
Because it's the primary security gate. I mean, if GitLab is the garage, the protected branch feature is the security system that ensures only authorized people can touch the ignition.
So it's not just a label, it prevents catastrophe.
It is the ultimate guardrail against accidentally deleting or corrupting production code. The exam expects you to know two critical things it can enforce. First, who can merge into that branch, usually only maintainers, and second, who cannot push directly to it.
So for the main branch, like production, I can just block all direct pushes and force everyone, even senior devs, to submit a merge request.
Exactly. And the real power is that you can force required approvals. It's a gate that says you cannot merge this until 2 other people have reviewed and approved it. It connects your local git push command to the team's quality standards.
That's a powerful distinction. It transitions the associate from just a solo coder to a competent collaborator.
And collaboration brings us to another area of huge confusion: the whole idea of making copies. We have to talk about forks versus branches. To the untrained eye, they both just look like duplicating code.
Yes, this is a great aha moment topic. We know a branch is a copy, so why would I ever need to fork it?
The technical difference is subtle, but the workflow difference is massive. It all boils down to location and permissions. Let's start with a branch.
A branch.
A branch is a copy that lives inside the original project. When you create a feature branch, it's still part of the same repository. It's used by the internal team, the people who already have right permissions.
So if I work for the company, I just create a branch off of main, I do my work, and I merge it back in. It never leaves that main container.
Precisely. Now, a fork. A fork is a copy of the entire project that gets copied onto your own personal account or namespace. It is a completely separate, independent repository.
That sounds like way more work. Why would I use a fork?
This is the critical distinction for the exam. Forks are for external contributors, usually in open source. If you're a community member and you do not have direct write permission to the main repository, you can't make a branch there. The platform will block you.
So you fork the project, you copy the whole thing to your own space, make your changes safely, and then submit that work back.
Yes. You make your changes on your fork, and then the mechanism for sending that work back is a merge request. You submit an MR from your fork back to the original project. When you see a question on the exam about external contribution, your brain should immediately go to fork.
So the distinction is clean. A branch is for internal collaboration where you already have access. A fork is for external contribution when you don't. Knowing that is required to understand collaboration at scale.
And if we connect this all back, the reason these details matter for the associate level is they confirm you're ready to collaborate efficiently and safely.
Which brings us to our synthesis point. This deep dive confirms GitLab is absolutely not just Git on the internet. It's a complete collaboration and business process tool that sits on top of the Git engine. And the certification proves you can handle that daily workflow, coding, committing, collaborating, without breaking the build, positioning you as a competent participant in the DevOps lifecycle.
That's the key takeaway. It moves the focus from a command line tool to an enterprise business process. And since GitLab's whole identity is covering that entire lifecycle plan, create, verify, package, release in a single application, it raises a really important question for you, the listener, to think about.
What's that final provocation?
If the platform now manages the entire business process, from planning features to releasing them, what does that shift imply for the structure of development teams themselves? Does the structure of a single application inherently lead to the de-siloing of planning, development, and operations teams into truly unified DevOps groups?
That's fascinating. The idea that the tool structure might actually dictate the organizational structure that companies adopt.
Something to think about.
A lot to think about while you're checking your predicted branches. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the fundamentals of the GitLab platform. We'll catch you next time where we're going to get even more granular.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to dive into the specific Git commands like rebase and reset that tend to trip people up on those multiple choice questions.
Don't miss it.
Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.